It wakes you up in the morning, keeps you alert late into the night, but how healthy is your morning cup of coffee and what does a cup of it do to your body?
Well, Dale Pennick's here now to tell us. Good morning
Yes.
to you, Dave. So you said this is a bit of a miracle product.
I wouldn't go that far, but there's
Oh.
some very surprising health benefits. Often it's been vilified. People assume that it's going to be really bad for you. They have done for a long time.
Well, most people are sort of going, right, January, I'm going to detox, I'm going to cut out
Cut out the
coffee.
But there's some really interesting benefits. So, starting with the brain.
Yeah.
The main way that coffee actually gives us that stimulating effect is that it actually causes a release of the hormone adrenaline. Adrenaline then in turn stimulates the release of stored glucose from the liver and our muscles. The brain is a really glucose-hungry organ. When there's that additional flood of glucose, it becomes much more active. Also, caffeine blocks the effects of something called adenosine in the brain as well. And when it does that, it makes us much more alert and we can focus more easily, which is quite interesting.
Is there a time of the day that is either good or bad?
I think that really is an individual thing. For me personally, a couple of cups in the morning gets me in the zone, gets me in the right place. If I have it at night, I can't sleep.
Yeah,
I'm wide awake for hours. But
And
other people seem to be able to tolerate it fine without any issue,
So it's not just your brain that it has an effect on, it's your heart
Yeah,
as
so
well.
moving on to the heart. With the heart muscle itself, it's what we call positively chronotropic. Okay?
Ah, yes. Well, we knew that, didn't we?
Basically means that it speeds up heart rate. Okay,
And is that a good thing?
Well, it really depends. Like with the speeding up of the heart rate, it also raises blood pressure. If you're undertaking some athletic endeavours, for example, if you're going to go to the gym, that actually increases the delivery of oxygen to tissue so you can perform a little better. But also that's part of what's making you feel wide awake as well. Obviously, if you've got high blood pressure or any kind of heart rhythm issues, probably not the best idea.
What about your gut?
Well, the gut. So, because it's got a very bitter flavour to it, especially when you drink it black, the taste buds at the back of the tongue that actually detect the bitter flavour, when they get stimulated by that flavour, we get an activation of two nerves, the vagus and the hypoglossal nerves,
Right.
that come from the back of the tongue to the upper part of the digestive tract. That increases digestive secretions, so it actually helps to improve several aspects of digestion, but also helps with the release of bile, which is helping things to move on to their final trajectory, shall we say. Then, obviously, we've got the health... Trajectory, I know, put teeth in, I couldn't get that one out, yeah. Then the health of the liver as well. I mean, there's been some interesting research that has shown that in people that drink 4 or more cups of coffee a day and are moderate drinkers, there is an 80% reduction in risk of cirrhosis of the liver. Now, we must stress, I mean, it was a statistically significant finding, but it was only a population study. It was an observation study. So it's not been done in a clinic yet, so we can't say,
So
go out
does
and get
that
hammered and
mean-
just drink
I was
coffee.
going to say, does that mean if you've got, say, an event coming up, if you were to drink coffee the day before or the day after?
No, this is a long-term effect. This is a long-term protective effect,
Right.
probably from the antioxidant compounds that we find in there.
What about, because it's been discussed that it just could have laxative qualities?
It can do, but you know what? Any warm drink can do that first thing in the morning. It actually stimulates peristalsis, which is that rhythmical contraction in the gut that pushes things along.
Trajectory.
Trajectory, yeah, I can say it now.
It says about it helps with the gallbladder, and that can help with the digestion of fat.
Yeah,
that's a bile,
that's
is it?
that stimulating effect. When we get that activation of the vagus and the hypoglossal nerves, one of the reflex responses of that is that contraction of the gallbladder. And the gallbladder is where bile is stored.
Yes, I see.
Bile's main job is to actually emulsify fats into smaller droplets that we can absorb more effectively.
OK.
What are the best types of coffee?
The best types, you know what? You want as much exposure to the fresh bean as possible because that's where all the active chemistry is. Things like the instant really are a bit of a waste of time. They might taste all right and you've got a bit of a caffeine hit, but in terms of all the polyphenols and all these wonderful compounds that are associated with the health benefits, it's in the fresh bean because the way this is actually processed to create this product. So a good cafetiere with like a ground coffee is ideal, or go to a coffee shop and get a really good black Americano, something like that. Or if you've got one of the pods, the pod machines are a great option too.
They're good as well. Is it addictive when people say, oh, I can't live without a coffee, I can't even get started without a coffee?
It's something that's under a lot of debate. One of the things that we do know is that coffee has an influence on the release of dopamine. And dopamine is a neurotransmitter that's involved in that reward-seeking behaviour, the things that we actually enjoy.
Right.
So it may encourage us to seek out this thing because we get the buzz from it, but it's not necessarily physically addictive like something like nicotine would be. I mean, there's not a receptor to it, for example.
Right. Okay.
So it's not addictive?
It's not addictive, but it does drive that reward-seeking behaviour.
And what about that age-old debate, tea or coffee? I mean,
Tea
as
or
I said at the
coffee?
beginning of the show, I'm probably might be OK now,
Yeah.
but if I have any coffee at all when I wake up or first thing in the morning, then I will instantly get a migraine.
Really common. It is vasoconstrictive. That's the other thing it does to the cardiovascular system. So it causes vessels to contract. And those smaller vessels there, if they contract, you can get a pressure build-up.
Is that why?
Yeah.
So why doesn't it happen to me later on in the day?
That I haven't got an answer for. That flummoxed me, I have to admit.
Did it?
Yeah. Because usually you find it right across the board.
I could probably have one now, and I can certainly have one if I go out for a meal in the evening. I love a coffee afterwards, and it doesn't keep me
bizarre.
awake.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Keeps
strangely.
you wide awake.
So
So
what
tea or
about-
coffee?
Yeah.
I love a good green tea. Huge amounts of polyphenols in there, loads and loads of antioxidants, similar to coffee as well. I think really it depends on what your tastes are. But with both of these, to get the most of these benefits, you need to have them without milk.
Well, I was going to say that.
Yeah, 'cause the
if you're
proteins in the
having
milk-
sort of, you know, vanilla syrup, bit of whipped cream
It's like
on
a
top.
drinkable tiramisu then. I mean, it's a calorie bomb. It's not really
So that's-
delivering anything
that doesn't
beneficial.
count. You're
But
not
also the
allowed.
proteins in the milk will bind to a lot of these active chemicals, things like the flavonoids, and render them inactive.
Oh,
so they don't
no.
actually get into
Mind
the
you, I don't
circulation.
have very much. I have very little.
Yeah.
I mean, you can almost stand a spoon up in my tea, but
Treacle.
but even though I put a little bit of milk in, then
It will negate some of it, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Just have it black.
Really?
Black tea, yeah, it's wonderful.
Well, it's not quite the same.
So let's have a word with Charles, because you can taste posh coffee for yourselves, because we've got our own barista in the studio, and Charles is from the coffee company Change Please, and he has an amazing story. Hi, Charles.
Hi,
Welcome.
Charles.
It's lovely
Thanks
to
for
talk to you.
joining us.
So, let's talk about Norfolk, because you were in Norfolk originally, weren't you?
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
I lived in Norfolk. I had my own flat. Basically, to cut a long story short, I took a friend in who was sofa surfing, tried to be charitable, give him a roof over his head, help him try and get back on his feet. Things started off great to begin with, but then things turned nasty. He sort of like became lazy. He started threatening me in my own home.
It got violent. didn't it?
He became quite violent.
So much so that you decided, right, I'm going to move from Norfolk. I'm going to go to London.
Yeah,
Now, that move did not necessarily go to plan, because you ended up on the streets of Whitechapel.
yeah.
sleeping.
Basically, I came to London with virtually very little money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Enough to get me by 3-4 nights in a hotel. The money soon ran out.
Yeah.
I found myself having nowhere to actually stay. I had no accommodation. I started sleeping rough in Whitechapel, outside Whitechapel Mission.
I mean, it's a real example of how quickly things can deteriorate and how easily you can find yourself sleeping rough. But thankfully, you did find a place at a hostel, and they put you in touch with this company, Change Please. And 5 months later, here you are. So just explain a bit about Change Please and what they did for you.
But basically, Change Please, they're a company that run a social enterprise. So they'll take a homeless person like myself.
Yeah.
They give me job training. They'll train me to be a barista.
Yeah.
In the long run, in the run up to that, they also will help me find a permanent accommodation. They look out for my well-being, so it's not just a matter of here's a home, here's a job, go away. They
the full
constantly
thing. Yeah.
are checking up on us. We've got a problem. My CEO Jamal is so friendly, so approachable. I can go and talk to him. I can talk to my managers.
Yeah.
Or any of my colleagues.
And they're training you up now to be a barista, as you say. And so this is the career, knowledge in a career.
Yeah.
And that's what it's given you.
The aim of the company is to try and help people get back on their feet.
Yeah.
So training me up to be a mentor barista helps change my life. I can meet people like yourselves and
Well, we're
ordinary
more interested in
people.
meeting you, to be honest. I've got to say, it's a hell of a story.
Yeah,
It really is. And you are back on your feet, and you have got your own place now.
I am. Yeah.
Well done, you.
I'm
Well done.
getting there. I mean, there's still a long way to go.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I've still got things I need to do, but being part of Change Please has really helped me.
Yeah, well,
Thank
what a
you,
great
Charles.
initiative.
Thank you for the
very
coffee
much.
this morning
Yes.
as well, by the way.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay there. It's a nice pitch, lovely people,
I know.
nice and warm, no rain.
It doesn't rain in here, it's always sunny.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Dale. as well.
Yeah, Del, thank you.